Update. So last episode, 18, doing the rear brakes, YouTuber Dave Turner pointed out that I hadn't used lube on the metal-to-metal contact points between the brake shoe and the backing plate. And he's right, it needs lube. Got some brake lube. You definitely want to use brake lube because it's high temperature, and if you just go ahead with any old lube, it'll melt under the high heat and then drip into areas that you don't necessarily want lubed. So I'm going to use the right stuff. So original equipment rear shocks on my 76 are KYB. It's a Mazda RX3 28700C. Threaded rod at the top, eyelet at the bottom. Now, a couple years ago, I paid a guy 90 bucks for some KYB gas adjusts. That, of course, he said fit a Mazda RX3. And as you can see, they do not. This guy on eBay sells all kinds of rotary stuff, but I got screwed. 90 bucks. Don't know what they fit. Maybe they fit a wagon, RX3 wagon. I don't know. So, I have no shocks. That's what I was going to do today, but as you can see, not happening. I gotta go back to the drawing board and buy some new shocks. These are shock covers. You know, they're black rubber. They are pretty much coated with a layer of dirt and debris that doesn't come off easy. I've scrubbed them pretty good in the sink with them scrubby pads. Didn't seem to do much. So what I've done is taken them to the buffing wheel. The buffing wheel, they look pretty nice now. So here's a comparison. Not bad. And I was thinking, you know, how else can I make these look nice? I tried armor-alling another piece of rubber with a field of dirt debris on it, and it didn't really matter. You know, it still looked like shit. So, with a little bit of a gentle buffing, it'll look beautiful. So it's rubber, you know, you can't just go crazy on it. It'll heat up and melt, so take it easy. So now I got rubber and dirt and shit all over my buffing wheel, but you know what? These things are cheap. They're like $3 to $5 bucks, so I'm not worried about it. Dude. I have since discovered a different, simple way of cleaning rubber and hard plastic. We'll talk about that later in another episode. Finally got the right ones here with the eyelets at the bottom. You know, and the first pair of shocks I got came from some ass clown that sent me wagons. You know, the RX3 wagon has a stud at the top and the bottom, no eyelet at the bottom. So my original KYB gas adjusts that came off this 76 had the dust boots on the upper portion. I think I want to try to reuse those. We'll see how that goes. Now the new KYBs come with a new, you know, retaining top piece. That would be where this would have been on the old KYBs that came off the car. KYB provides new large bushings to place beneath the top casing. Slightly smaller than original. My OEM bushings are wide to better fit the casing and are shaped just like the diagram in the manual. They're in fine shape. I'm gonna go that route. Dust boot first. I don't know if the leather strap will come out with the dust boot in place. Gonna find out. So you should know that the original bump stop casings and the holder for the bushing, two different diameters. So, you know, you can't put this bushing in the bump stop casing because that would have gone at the bottom. Okay, so the factory manual has a nice illustration that shows how the bump stop casing and the retainer for the bushing that goes right above it, they both face down. I think so.
So you start filming?
It's coming.
I see something moving around. Okay. See that? Is it all the way up?
Yes.
Okay. The bushing covers all the way up to the top of the stud. Something's got to come off to get the bushing on the other.
Yeah, the leather.
That might.
So go ahead and just start the nut.
Okay. It is started all the way on.
What I'm discovering now is that the shock mounting bolt will not slip through the holes in the bracket on the differential. Tell me how that cannot go through there.
That bolt appears to be larger than the hole.
Well, that's where it came from. How could it not go through there?
You couldn't have put that much paint on it. Could you?
Possible. Yeah, this one's too tight. That's okay. Fix that.
When I applied 2 coats of POR 15 to the differential in episode 13, it narrowed down the bolt holes in the bracket that's on the differential. So now the shock absorber mounting bolt won't go through them.
Okay.
Awesome. And then I'll take care of the POR 15 and the bolt hole problem some other time.
What if that's a different size hole?
Might be. It is. It is a different size hole. Good call, Gary. And here's the bolt. The shoulder has 1 diameter. The threads have another. That way it can only go in one direction.
I like that bend.
So there we go. Okay. So, my buddy Gary figured out these are 2 different size holes. One size is big enough for the shoulder. The other side is just big enough for the threads. So now I'm changing bits to the bigger side for the shoulder part of the bolt. Okay, we should be good to go. Test fit here. Nice.
Now I'm finding the string holding the gas-charged KYB compressed will not untie.
You're supposed to just pull on the loose end and it comes...
I'm supposed to. Not happening. Might have to just do what they tell you not to do, because it's not coming. Wow. So these are supposed to just... Ow, just like
Watch
that.
out. They just spring out?
Yeah. Just like that. You just glide your bolt through your eyelet. The washer goes on the side with the nut. Okay, I'll tighten that in a minute or 2. So the knot is too tight and I can't get it, so we're cutting. And there we go.
As I suspected from the beginning, the leather strap at the top of the KYB will not pull out with my OEM rubber dust boot in place. I'm sure most guys and auto tire centers that do shocks probably toss the rubber boot in the bin. I want to use mine.
The leather is still up there. Since I couldn't get the leather straps off, there wasn't enough room at the top of the shaft for the rubber bushing and the nuts and the lock nut. I had to take the shocks out of the car, get the leather straps off. Okay, so the leather strap is off, the string is off, so they're still compressible. If you're like me and you gotta do shit twice, don't worry. I can still get this KYB compressed. Now that bit earlier about me using the original bushing, part of why this is smaller is so that it can expand into this casing. So maybe I don't want to use my original bushing, even though it's in fine shape. So I'm using the KYB supplied bushing so it'll expand in there if necessary. It's got room. Bushing, casing, dust cover. Let's get it all flush. Here we go. Straight up. There we go. Up you go. Get my bolt in hand. Probably said it already. Lock washer goes on the side with the nut. 35 foot-pounds. How many meter kilograms is that?
That's 3.7 to 5.5.
Perfect. Next. And again, I don't know if anybody ever uses these. It's original equipment on the car. I want to put it back on. Make it so I can see that hole I'm trying to get through. There it is. Up we go. Okay. I'm gonna put my stud in the hole. Coming after you, Gary. Okay, come on, 35. There it is. Done. Now let's get the top nut. Okay, on the top side, we get this top bush. It looks like it's gonna occupy too much thread, but it'll compress. After the bushing, you got the washer. Large nut goes first. So there's no torque specification for this. It's a distance setting of 6.5 millimeters, as shown in the factory manual. That's 1/4 inch, by the way. 0.26, 0.27 inch. I'm pretty sure when you take your car to the auto repair shop, or especially a tire shop, you're not whipping out a caliper measuring this shit. Just tightening it up, and down the road you go. Probably doesn't matter, but you know what? I'm gonna set it right. 6.15, 14. 6.14, not tight enough. Gotta crank it down a touch. 6.51, I'll take it. Now I just gotta crank that down without affecting its distance. Right there. 6.51, I'm gonna take it. Whew. Next side. Grommet. Washer. Large nut. I might be able to hit this with a socket, but I'm concerned the shaft will spin the shock absorber, so I'm just going to hit it with a wrench and I can watch the shaft. And that might be enough to get this started here. See where we're at on our measurement. The little caliper going on. It's tough to get this caliper in here. Actually be better with like a really short ruler. There's no room. There is a depth gauge on my caliper, but there's no clearance to get in there. Can't get in there. I can actually feel it better than I can see it because of my aging eyesight. That feels. Oh, it's only 5.6. Let's crank it down. Let's see what that gives us. Okay. For me, that's going to work. It's difficult to get in here. It's difficult to measure it. I'll take it. And in other things cool that keep me busy, we're working on my buddy Tom's FC. An FC is a second generation RX-7.
Had about 150,000 miles on the car, and the cooling system blew up. I pulled the engine, stripped it down, took the engine down, had it rebuilt. Today we're back here to put parts back on the engine and to get it in the car.
Putting the clutch on. New oil level indicator. Engine mount. The old one had frayed wires, so it's out of here. Rat's nest. Eccentric pulley. Oil metering lines. Auxiliary port valves.
Okay.
Intake manifold. And that's where I'm going to end this episode, which brings us to the question of the day. I'm going with a 12A engine, non-turbo, using the Nicky 4-barrel carb, but it's been modified with gross jets. How would you port a 12A running a modified Mickey 4-barrel, and what other engine mods would you do? I'd love to know what you think and why in the comments section down below. Thanks for watching me wrenching on my RX3. Hit that thumbs up button, click subscribe, check out my previous episodes, and be on the lookout for new episodes, including McPherson strut reassembly, front suspension installation, and a lot more. Peace out, brother.
Deb's bitched me out for cussing in my videos. I can't cuss anymore. Can't say I can say it. I have to edit it out.